all of this. And Penny Mordaunt's something of a dark horse in this race, and she could well be our next Prime Minister. I love her slogan, by the way, PM for PM. She got lucky there.
Certainly, nominative determinism, some people might say, but it was a very, very good day for Penny Mordaunt yesterday, securing herself as a really credible challenger in this race. And also quite a bad day for Rishi Sunak, really. 88 votes is not well ahead of the pack. In fact, if you add up any two of the other leading contenders, you're well ahead of Rishi Sunak there. By comparison, Boris Johnson in the first round was well over 100 of a much smaller parliamentary party. So Rishi Sunak, not the far and away favourite in the way that he perhaps was thought a couple of days ago. But I think what's really interesting about today is less about Rishi Sunak, less about Penny Mordaunt, and more about Liz Truss and Kemi Badenoch, because Liz Truss is launching this morning, finally, her campaign with a big set-piece speech. Will she be able to express the sort of gravitas that we saw from Penny Mordaunt yesterday? That's a big challenge for her. Or potentially, could Kemi Badenoch, who's only 10 votes behind Liz Truss, maybe leapfrog Liz Truss and be more of a secure candidate of the right? Because if we're looking at sort of the Brexity right of the Conservative Party, that vote is split currently across three candidates: Suella Braverman, Kemi Badenoch and Liz Truss. Now, that's a very, very strong number of votes were they all to get together. And I think what's disappointing some Conservative MPs on the right of the party is that Suella Braverman hasn't dropped out, is that an accordance hasn't been found between some of these candidates, splitting that vote on the Brexity right of the party.
It's very interesting about how these votes become amalgamated when people start to drop out and what have you, because there's a real danger here, isn't it, of frustrating the Conservative Party membership. If people get together and leapfrog Penny Mordaunt, who seems to be very, very popular when you actually survey the membership, cause a bit of frustration, couldn't it? It
certainly could. Now, I don't think anyone's quite going to be able to get over Penny Mordaunt today, but obviously today is just one more round out of what there will be more rounds. And some people were suggesting at the start of this process that there would be people dropping out, that this would perhaps all be wrapped up today. What we now know for certain is it won't be wrapped up today, short of a miracle, because there are so many candidates left, still 6. One will be automatically knocked out today. We'll get the result at around 3 p.m. Voting starts at 11:30 this morning. But unless more people then follow and saying, OK, I'm going to give up, the jig's up, I'm going to drop out voluntarily, there'll be another round next on Monday, and then potentially more rounds each day right through to as late as next Thursday.
But talking about people giving up voluntarily, this was something the Prime Minister talked about during PMQs yesterday. Boris Johnson suggesting it could be his last time at the dispatch box if a clear front-runner emerged and all the opponents agreed that they would stand down. Not impossible.
Not impossible, but almost fantastically unlikely, because all of the candidates have signed a pledge put forward by the chairman of the 1922 committee, Sir Graham Brady, a clause in this contest known as the Leadsom Clause, that they promise to not drop out so that Conservative Party members can have a say. Because a lot of members felt very aggrieved back in 2016 when the contest was curtailed, only ran for a couple of weeks, because, of course, Andrea Leadsom dropped out of those final two, automatically making Theresa May Prime Minister. Less likely now because not only of that pledge, but also because there is no front-runner that's clear and away ahead in the way that Theresa May, for example, in 2016 got more than half of the parliamentary party in the first round. Wow. No one's even close to that. No one's even touching around 25% of the parliamentary party at this stage. It's still a fairly wide-open contest. One of the interesting tidbits about why Boris Johnson might have yesterday said this could have been his last PMQs is because there's big speculation he will be going off on an international visit next week, perhaps to Japan, because he spoke to the Japanese Prime Minister yesterday. The UK and Japan have been forging these new post-Brexit links. The Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership is a trade pact that the United Kingdom is seeking to join, and, of course, the sad assassination of Shinzo Abe as well. Perhaps it might be a Japanese trip in the offing for the Prime Minister next week.